I have two mics to compare today. The budget Sontronics STC-1, which comes in roughly about £130, £135, and the SE Electronics SE8, which comes in around about £299. And it's quite a difficult choice between these two because they're both very good mics. One's a bit more budget than the other one. So let's see how they compare. The SE8 is a compact little pencil microphone. I quite like the fact that it's compact and light. It has a cardioid head and it has a specs of 20 to 20 kilohertz. That's what it's quoted as. Sensitivity of -32 dBV. A signal to noise ratio of an incredible 81 dB. That's very, very, very good for a pencil microphone. In fact, they say that this one is supposed to be the best in its class. So this is a very quiet pencil mic. So that extra money you're paying for that quietness, I would imagine. It's got a low cut filter, although it's recessed. It's at 80 Hertz and 160 Hertz. I would say the 80 Hertz is the most useful for voice. If you go up to 160, it can just cut into the sound, the bass of your voice, but just about. But it's handy if you're out in a windy place and you've got this thing really covered up. That would be quite useful. It's got a pad as well, -10 and -20 dB. They're both recessed, so to get at them you need a little thing to get in there and get at it. So it's not so easy to change, which is a good and a bad thing because basically you can't have any accidents, but when you want to change it, it can be a little bit inconvenient. So that's the only thing. Now the impedance, the output impedance is 110 ohms, so it's nice and low, and the weight of this is just under 5 ounces. So it's a nice little compact mic with low noise. The Sontronics STC-1 comes with a cardioid head, and I'm not sure if it also comes with a supercardioid. You can certainly buy a supercardioid, and you can also buy an Omni for this one. It's quite a thing really. You've got 3 heads that will fit onto here, quite nice. It's got a frequency response of 25 Hertz to 20 kilohertz, sensitivity of -36 dBV, and the signal to noise comes in at -78 dB. So it's not too shabby, and it's only 3 dB behind the SE8. Now, whether that shows in practice is another thing. Although the SE8 has an incredible noise figure of 81, which is really nice, there's only 3 dB between the two of them. But the SE8 is over double the price of this one. The times when you're going to notice that 3 dB difference is not when you're using the microphone close, but when you take it further away. If you have to raise the gain, that's possibly going to show a little bit more than when you've got it close up. So for all intents and purposes, if you intend to use the microphones close, it's not going to be heard. That 3 dB is going to be very difficult to detect. The impedance, the output impedance is less than 200 ohms, so it's kind of on a level with the SE8 as far as that goes. And this also has a pad of -10 and -20 dB. There's also a high pass filter at 75 and 150 Hertz. So it's just slightly different from the other one, which is 80, 160. This is 75, 150. So the high pass filter is roughly about the same. Again, this is quite recessed, although I may just be able to get at it with my fingertips. It's as I said, it can kind of be a good thing and a bad thing because you can't make mistakes easily because you can't change it by accident. But when you want to change it, it can be a pain because you've got to get in there. And if you haven't got anything to get in there with, or long fingernails, basically you're in trouble, aren't you? Looking at these two mics, you can see that the SE8, this one, the black one, is a lot smaller than the STC-1. By the way, the STC-1 does come also in black as well as this sort of champagne colour. So there's a significant difference in size. You also get another head with this one, and there is also an Omni head you can get. So you can get supercardioid, cardioid and Omni with this one, although it's cheaper. And this one, you can, I think, get another head for the SE8, but I don't think it's that cheap either. But there's a difference in size, definitely. There's also quite a difference in the weight of these. This one comes in at just under 5 ounces, and this one comes in just under 8 ounces. So it's quite a significant difference between the two. Having said that, the weight of this makes this feel like a quality, solidly built microphone, although there's nothing shabby about the SE8 either. This is the sound of the SE Electronics SE8, and hopefully you're not getting too much of the room sound because I've got it quite close to me. I don't want to speak directly into the microphone microphone, because the thing about pencil microphones is they are very sensitive to plosives, and it's best not to blow air anywhere close to them. If you've ever taken one outside, you'd instantly hear that it's not very good in the wind. These things are not very good. So this is the sound of the SE8 from the front. This is the SE8 from the side. This is the SE8 from the rear, back to the side, and this is the front. I'm not going to do cuts and the pads and all those kinds of things, and I'm also not going to test the noise, because quite honestly, if you test noise, it can be a little bit unfair, because it does depend on what kind of equipment you're using to record on. So basically, just trying to give an impression of the difference in sound between the two of these microphones. This is the sound of the STC-1. I'm not going to go into the cuts and all the other things, the pads, because we just want the basic sound. I'm just testing the basic sound and comparing the two microphones. This is the sound of the STC-1, and this is the cardioid head. And as you can probably see, I'm in quite a small area, so there are quite a few reflections, but the microphone is quite close to me. So this is the STC-1 from the front. This is the STC-1 from the side. STC-1 from the rear, back to the side, and that's the front, and you'll hear that it's a cardioid microphone. So to finish, which one of these two mics would you go for? Given the fact that this one is 130 odd, this one is 299. There's quite a difference in price, but very many people go for this one because they say things like world class in the noise area. You know, the self noise is the lowest and it's in its own class, but in effect, it's only 3 dB difference between the two microphones. So it's quite difficult to make that choice. If you're on a budget, I think this is a great buy. But having said that, it's actually also quite a heavy microphone. So if you're on a budget, you might want a better stand to hold this thing, because it's actually quite a weighty feeling mic. It's got quite a heft to it, you know. This one is lighter. I prefer black myself, although this does come in black. They're both, they've got similar specs, they've got similar things on them, and it's quite difficult to choose. So if you're on a budget, this is going to serve you perfectly well, the STC-1. If you're not on such a budget, this is a great microphone as well, and it is seriously quiet as well. I hope to see you next time. Cheers for now.